Hey guys, how are you doing? Hope everything is great. And today we are going to be having or doing something like this. I really don't know how to start live streams. Yeah, I'm not very good at this, but we'll get better at it. But anyway, hope everything is good for you guys that side. So yeah, let's just dive in so that we go over the awkward greetings and just dive into blending. Yeah, so yeah, this is the image we want to create. I just got it from Pinterest. So yeah, I think I can start with the background there. And so just going to move my camera here, go to my world settings, and see we are just diving in right away. Your volume is very low, unfortunately. Let me fix that, my friend. Yeah, actually, I don't think it's my volume. Check your side and see, because it seems my audio is just fine on my side. Try checking your side called Graph X. If anyone else is having issues with audio, please let me know, because I think on my side everything looks to be just fine. Let me just play back here for a second. Yeah, it seems okay. It seems okay on my side. So anyway, let's get in and get started with this. And yeah, I should have enabled my screen keys, but I'll just do that next time. Hello, DevCon. How are you doing? DevCon TV. Thanks for coming around for this stream. So let's start by creating this sphere. I'm just going to add a UV sphere. Maybe this time let's try doubling the resolution times 2. I think that's good enough. Just going to bring this down. Don't need this plain shade smooth. And if you look at this grid, it's triangulated. So so we can go in here. First of all, let's turn on wireframe, so we get that wireframe look. And then, you know what? The problem with the wireframe modifier, it adds a lot of resolution, or that normally starts slowing down the entire computer. So if you don't want to have a very computer intensive scene, we can try using the wireframe node here. So if I add that, I think it's under input wireframe. If we preview this, you can see we get the wireframe. And the great thing about this, actually, let me see. Okay, if you look at the pattern of this sphere here, and you look at the pattern that we are getting from this wireframe, it doesn't give us, because this is more like a hexagon. Let me just paint it for you here so that you can see it. You can see that this is like I think it's called a hexagon shape, and then you get those triangles. Here we just have squares, so this icosphere is not the best sphere we can use. So let's just use, sorry, the UV sphere is not the best sphere, so let's use this icosphere because I think it gives us those hexagons. So let's use a subdivision of 4, I think. Scale it down, bring this down again. I'm also going to change my camera, my aspect ratio, just so we get that portrait aspect ratio, something like that. Maybe scale this a bit, shade smooth. Now we can use the same. You can see now we get that hexagonal material. So I think I need to subdivide this even further. And the great thing about using the wireframe is you can turn on this pixel size so that you can really have thin lines like that. Now I just need to increase this so that they are visible in my screen. Now we get something like that. So what I'm going to do is use this as a mixed RGB mask to kind of have some colors in here. So this should be something like that. So we can use this area should be black, and then we can give it a bluish color. And what I'm also going to do is use the input layer weight. I think I can use facing here. Just add a math node to make it more pronounced. Let's use power for the operation to have something like that. And I want to mix these colors a bit. So let's see. I'm just going to use a color ramp, convert color ramp here to colorize the color just a bit here. So let me just give it, I can even sample some of the colors we're seeing here. Okay. And let me just remove that. Then maybe you can mix this again. With this, so we can see the results now. Let's try with the blend mode of add overlay. Let's try add, get something like that. So we can use this in the emission and base color. I think we can also use this wireframe factor as the alpha factor here. So then under material, riven blades. What happened to yesterday's motion graphic things? I made a script to animate the text meter. Yeah, so with that it was becoming a bit too slow for me, so I just discontinued with it. And I was playing around with animation nodes to get it work with my computer, and I think the next time I try it I would be using animation nodes because it's very, very easy to use. And yeah, I also did make an let me just show you how quickly it is to use animation nodes. Let me save this project, call this art, because I think even with, if you use Python, it gives you the functionality, but not as much as animation nodes. So let me just switch this to animation nodes. I just installed it today and I was playing with it a bit. So let me just add a text here, add a new node tree, go to time. I think it's under animation. So if I want to change the text here, like what I was wanting to do in the yesterday's stream, you would just, let me first find a viewer here, viewer node. You can see now I have this. So I want to change this text on every second. Just get the frame rate. You can use math here to gauge. First get the results, see what I'm getting here. I want to get the current frame or the current time, so I'm converting frames to time. Now I can just, I think it's called, it's under convert. So you can easily do convert to, I think, convert. is this not searching here? We're going to get back to the other thing, but why am I? Okay, so there is a node called convert that converts this here, this animation into text here. So that's what I'm searching for here. Yes, this here, convert, and you want to convert to text. So you just get these. I think I need an object. Just been playing with this, so I guess I should just get my example. I'm forgetting this already. Let's just get back to it's a very easy way. You just I'm forgetting a few nodes that I'm supposed to use here, so let me just get back to what I'm doing. I need to do more practicing with that before I get back. Maybe let me just show you some of the examples I was playing with here. Playing with a few nodes here. I think I even got rid of those examples, but yeah, I'll be making a tutorial when I get better with it. Let's just get back to this. So if we go to the material and here, I'm just going to make sure that this is set to blend, and yeah, I think I should also play with the alphabet using the math node, so that is not too powerful. And maybe I can also add a point light around there. Something like that. See if I bring that a bit forward. That. Let's work on the world. So just go to the world and can start using some nodes. So I'm just going to add a texture noise texture here. If I use Ctrl Shift click that, should be able to preview that noise in the background. Now I only want a few specs. I don't want everything, so I'm going to add a convert color ramp and just crush some of that noise. And you can see we have a star field like that. Then another thing I can do here, maybe make them even a bit smaller. I also want them to have some of them colored. So what I'm going to do is use this as a mask. So like this, and we have some color coming from the noise here, so I can use that to kind of make some color, have some colored noise. Now if you look closely, you will notice that some of this noise is colored. You can see. Hello Jason Momon, how are you doing? Thank you, and thank you for this support. want something like that, and we want to feed this directly into the color and then into the surface like that. Now I think we can also add in those gradient colors. Let's see how we can do that. So if I add texture and gradient texture, preview this, I can see I just need to add some mapping. So move this on the x-axis like this. Oh, actually, before we do that, we can add a convert color ramp around there, and just do something like this. Well, actually, what we can do, I think this is not going to give us the results we want. I can just move this slightly around there, then shift D this, and this should be flipped on the other side. So I think I can rotate this on the y-axis by 90 degrees. I think it's 180 degrees, 180. So that is on this other side. And now what I can do is add a color mix node and blend the two with I think with a multiply node like that. Then I can add a math node around here with the operation of maybe power, something like that. And I can just play with the positioning here and here. Now I can colorize these two colors. So I think one way I can do this is by just adding let's see a convert color ramp here, giving this color. So this would be the bluish side. Now let me first hide this for a second, and then I'll duplicate this on the other side and make this that reddish color. So the blending mode now has to change to something different. I think this is actually not too bad, considering. And we might have to get rid of this power node because we just convert everything back to black and white. So I'm just going to remove that. Oh, we just have to add it before the colorization here. So change this to power. I can control some of that. Can control the gradient just a bit, and now we can blend it even more with another mix node, and let's see the results now. Yeah, something like that. Fit this into our environment or background, and we have our world. So let's unhide our stuff. It's not shading very nicely here. That could be because of the alpha map. So let me first remove that and see. And then just go to the materials. Yeah, it was because of the alpha. So what I'm going to do for the emission here, Let me turn on bloom. And maybe reduce these. What if you made volumetric lights for the red and blue strands? Volumetric lights, you could do that, but because this is EV, you would have to crank up the resolution, the viewport resolution, and also the volumetric lights for this to show. Let me show you what I mean here. So I think what you mean is that if I go, let's see, world, and turn on a volumetric by adding principal volume connected to the volume here, which will give us the volume. And so you're saying these, I make these a volumetric lighting, right? So let me just duplicate this. Maybe have this as a spotlight. You can see how it's starting to lose resolution. And if I reduce, and if you want to see anything in the scene, you'd have to reduce the density of your volume, which means that less of this spotlight will come through unless you increase is, and that is also not doing much. So actually, yeah, if you you can see, you start seeing this cone. Hello L11, how are you doing? I start to see that cone shape that I don't want. And if you try using the area light, just reduce this. Also doesn't give you this kind of streaks. I'll use the principal volume, but not now. I just want to get that shading right. And for these streaks, I can also, if I really wanted those, I can also just add something like a plane. Yeah. Give it a material. Yes. Leave on spotlights. Yeah, I think I will add them back later, because if I add them now, I'm going to have a few issues with the volume, and so I can add them back later. That's why I wanted to work on the entire scene before I start adding in the volumetrics, because you have to crank up the samples to get good volumetrics. So first of all, let me first add in some of these streaks using a noise texture here. So just isolate this for a second. Create a new noise texture, and can just scale this on the x-axis like that, and then scale this up to have streaks like that. Just make sure that they're covering most of the background like that. Now I can just add a convert a math node, change this to power, have something like that. Now I want these, can give them some color, but I want this to be the alpha mask for this. So if we go to the materials, I can turn on alpha blend. You can see now we get some streaks. Now you can scale them however you want, and maybe push them back Just make sure that they're not clipping in our scene. Just going to push them even further back. And you know what? I still want that gradient there. I want the streaks on this side to be bluish. Or what I can do is add. Let's see. No, I think these streaks are also too bright for me. So let me just add a convert. Let's see. I want to reduce the brightness here, so I can add a color, hue saturation on this, and reduce the brightness for this. I wanted to have transparency. Hello, Elvin. I'm good. How are you? I wanted to have transparency on this, but it wasn't working out nice. Okay, I think now it's better. Let's just make sure we have alpha blend, no shadow. Yeah, now it's better. Now we can bring back our values. It's not too bright here, so let me also make it not too bright. Maybe make it a bit more transparent, so add my math mode. And I think it's a bit down around there. Are you gonna animate it? Depends on how it comes out and time and what kind of animation do you want here. If you have any suggestions on how you want it to be animated, I can try that. I think we can also have these become a bit emissive, be a bit emissive here. And since this is a plane, well, what is that? That looks super cool. Hello, Demon Dank, how are you doing? Thank you. We can also scale this, but for some reason it's not scaling the streaks, and I think I know why. We can use UV projection or UV mapping, and now if we scale this, we can make it look. We have a few issues here, but I think if we subdivide this, the internal proportional editing, we can scale this the way we want. Or let's try using the surface simple deform modifier, this time using the taper. Not sure if it looks any good there, but yeah, let's continue. Let's start working on these light streaks, and for these, maybe let's first add this sphere. I am prefer a short blender lessons. Hello, Alex Kaznetsov. Yeah, you know, there are a lot of I don't know how to yeah, you say you prefer short lessons. I guess then live streams are not the format you would like to watch. Yeah, so there are a lot of YouTube creators specifically catering for the Blender community. So yeah, if you want short format content, there are a lot of creators that you can watch. Grand Habit, actually Grand Habit doesn't usually creates also longer format, but CG Matter is also a good one if you want to watch short format, and Ian Herbert is also another really good one at that. So let's create this sphere here, and I think for this we might need a bit more subdivision than this. So, and what we're going to do is use the same material that we're using here. So I'm just going to link it, Control L, materials. So we have that. But the other thing we can do for this here, let me first make sure that this is on object. The other thing we can do here is, let me create a cube here. You don't have to use something different. I'll then parent this cube to this sphere, Control P. And now what you can do is instance this cube to every vertex you have in this on the sphere. So you just have to go under instancing, then vertices, but make sure that I move this to the position of this cursor. And the reason I use the cube instead of a sphere is because a cube is enough to get us the results we want without using a lot of resolution. So I'm going to give it an emissive color. Something like that. And for this, maybe let's increase. And we don't want any alpha. But we need a lot of rim light, and to achieve the rim light, for this small sphere, make the material glow like the previous big sphere before you change it to alpha. Okay, so you mean I increase the value. Yeah, I think that looks cool, but I want this rim light to be a bit more like this. So I can just, we already have this node here. Actually have this power node, so I can use that. Why is it not giving me the results I'm expecting? So this is the layer weight. Let's use Freshnel. Interesting. Okay, we want the rim light to be around there. Something like that, and we can use the convert math node, make this powerful using the power node. Now we can just add that on top of this here. So just this and then this, like that. I can use the hues and saturation here, yeah, to make it more pronounced, like that. if you preview this material, you can see what we have. I don't like how this light is affecting the sphere, so I'm just going to change that light to an area light, so that that light is cut off and never reaches to that. I'm also going to change this to a disk. No reason, just because it has the same shape as what we are going for. Let me increase the power here. I can also maybe, let's see what happens. I think this would look great with that halo there. I think that's what you were talking about, that emissive light. So let's see, let's make these light streaks here. And for those, I think let's just use this here. Just going to isolate it for now, scale it in to be this small like this, and first, okay, make sure that you separate the material or something like that, so that we get, okay, nice. Do you know what motion in motion graphics? Magic mark. Yes, I know. Yes, I do know what motion in motion graphic means. Do you mean to ask me where the animation part of this, of the motion graphics is in these time lapses? I always want to make the motion graphics part or the animation part in this, but sometimes time doesn't allow it. Time doesn't allow it sometimes. If I tried to create an animation and then do all the animation, create the scene and also animate it at the same time, it can go on for hours. Anyway, let's create the gradient so that this light is a bit fading as it goes from top to bottom like that. So just add a texture, gradient texture. We need it to go from top to bottom, so Ctrl T, but then it's just graphics and not motion graphics. Well, depends. I could just design the art here and then animate it off live stream, and it will still be motion graphics if I animate it. It's just that it won't be a motion graphics stream. So let's I want to rotate this on the 90 degrees. Let me just see, where is that? Let me add a convert car ramp. Okay, so you can see our gradient. I don't know. Where is my gradient? Okay, let me just scale this out so that I can easily see my gradient. Reduce this. And also apply the rotation. Okay, so we want to rotate this 90 degrees. But that you could don't set mean you do, because this would make image motion graphics. Okay, I'm not sure what magic mark means here, but anyway, we'll just continue. So let me push this up a bit, or let me just add a convert math node here. Change this to power. Like that. And we want to subtract from these light streaks, these streaks here. So convert math, just get the operations like that. Yeah, this is exactly what we want. So we want this to fade down like that. As usual, abstracted pretty renders space. Hello MP. The usual abstract pretty renders channel are basically just short, highly edited view grabbing short videos. Just my opinion, but you actually showing working through a problem. Yeah, thank you. And sometimes you will see me struggling. That's the thing about live streaming, is that you have to go through the problems while everyone is watching. So, and it doesn't matter how prepared you are. Whenever you work on a project, you're going to run into issues you didn't expect, or even problems you didn't run into when practicing that project. Because I do practice some of the projects I work on, especially when going to stream them. But this I didn't practice it because these are basic concepts I've already done before. But still, you run into issues you didn't expect to run into. That's the great thing about watching live streams, is that you see how someone is bootstrapping and approaching different problems that they might find or they may encounter. Yes. Although some people may not really appreciate it. So, but anyway, this is a small channel. Let's see. Trying to. Now, I think we're good with this light streak. So we just need to colorize it. So I'm just going to add. You know what? Let me just make under here. Can just add a convert color ramp again. What I mean, you should call it just graphics. I can call it whatever I want, and you can, I don't know, I don't want to sound rude or anything, but there. No, I really don't want to sound rude, so yeah, I'm just calling it motion graphics, regardless of whether it is motion graphics or not. So this is going to go to the base color, and this is going to go to the emission color here, like so. But this is a disappointing then for, thank you for coming, Magic Mac. Next time I'll make sure to notify you when it's not going to be a disappointing stream. Maybe you can tune in then, but now since it is a bit disappointing, yeah, you can leave your email. I'll send you a notification when it is not disappointing. Thank you for coming around. So I'm going to duplicate this a few times, and maybe I can play with the alpha here. Actually, I want this to be our alpha mask, so that we get that fading result. Now I can use input object data or object info, and add a color, then random. So I'm going to duplicate this a few times so we have a few streaks like what they were having here. Maybe move a few back, move a few forward, like so. I don't know if our hair system would, particle system would do this better. I'll experiment with that and see. So now we can use the color ramp. I change this to constant. I select a few colors. I can use a lot of red, a lot of that pinkish color, some bluish color, and let's see what else, like that. And we can then have this mixed color, mixed RGB, no overlaid on top of whatever we have here. So I'll just use, maybe let's try add. Maybe that's too powerful overlay. Let's just use something like that. Have it as base color and also the emission color. Let's just make it a bit more powerful by increasing the value. So through hue and saturation, let's try value of 5. Maybe that's too much. I want to find a different way to distribute, to populate these around without just duplicating one individual by individual. So let's just try using, let's see. If we use a plane and add a pair particle, just move this into a collection. Actually, you don't need it in a collection. You can just use one streak like that to render out the object. So just select it like that. Can get the object rotation. I'm just going to move this down like that, and make sure that my origin is at the cursor like that. Then I think I can subdivide this a few times. Turn on proportional editing. Actually, let's not use proportional editing here. But we can use vertex groups and weight paint. So let's just go to weight paint and paint a gradient. I think we can use, I don't know if there is just paint a radio gradient like that. Now you can go back to the particle system, and under, I think here, under fields, under vertex group, you can check off density and then length, so that the middle ones are taller. Now we can also increase the scale like that. Actually, this is supposed to be rotated. face down 180. Let's reduce this to a few streaks. Okay, since we're not going to get these results here, I'm not really sure how we can produce this. Hello, Jawathan. Welcome back. How are you doing? Jawathan. Sorry, I can't pronounce your name. I've seen you around for quite some times, but can't even pronounce your name. Sorry about that. So getting these like streaks seems a bit harder than I expected. So let's see if I try increasing the value here. Maybe this time let's reduce on the, let's just use this color here, this blue color, and actually what I'm thinking is that if we just use one plane like we had in the back, actually we can just duplicate this. Try the first technique you did with the plane that had the strikes. Yeah, I think we should do that. That's what I'm trying here. So, because I think it produces better stripes than this. So, you can see, just have to duplicate this light, this material, increase. Okay, I need to separate the power node for the alpha and the power node for the emission. So let's do that. Let me just add a color, hue and saturation. I think particle system with long cylinders with different length. Yeah, I think this the same thing we had just tried a few minutes ago, and it doesn't create that glow around the sphere. But if I do this, let me see. Let me bring this forward. Oh, I see. If we push this back like we had, the picture has a lot of blue. Yeah, but the problem with ours is that if I try increasing the bloom from here, it's also going to increase in different areas. Bloom intensity, you can see it's not just the streaks that are going to increase in their blooms. All the other areas are also going to increase. So I think what I can do is just have this aligned, maybe increase the scale of those individual streaks, and use a texture gradient. Yes. This time maybe we can try the spherical. Yeah, it does affect all the other streaks. Can try the spherical. I think actually it's called radial, not spherical. Just have to scale it down. First isolate it. need to get it to work, to get it into position. Problem is sometimes it's really hard to tell. Let's first go with the linear and position it. Actually, let's go, because I want to have a fading gradient from top to bottom here. If I scale this down and reposition, you know what, I'm just going to use an empty at position this at this gradient. So I'm just going to choose object empty. Actually, before I did that, I think I saw the sphere somewhere in the center here, so let me just move that around. I also want to scale it up. Control node for visibility of the noise. Control node for the visibility, I'm not sure what you mean. So if we scale this up, but I also scale it on the y-axis, something like that, and push it up just a bit. We can use the power node here to make it a bit faded like that. So what I'm trying to do is create this super high emissive beam there. I think if I can layer a few of these actually. So if I can layer them, so we have that the globe. Maybe scale it up a bit even further. Then we can duplicate this gradient. Just use the same texture coordinate. Make this a bit thinner. Okay, why am I not seeing it? Okay, I think I need this power gradient. Some reason I'm not seeing this one, yet I can see this. Sorry, this is supposed to be under vector. It should go under vector like that, but this I want to be thinner, so like that, maybe long as well. You might need to push it down, then scale it further, and then bring it up, make it more strong, and now we can add it on top of this. So let's try add. Maybe move it up a bit. Now remember, we also have these streaks, so which we are going to make more visible using the convert math node. Change this to power. So we get the streaks like that. Now I can just blend the two. Yeah, I think that gives us better results. Now let's see. Now I can use this as our factor here for this. I think we need to use a power node here to get more. Actually, let me just use, instead of a power node, let me just use a color ramp so that we can control the contrast even better. Let me first preview this here. Still not too powerful. Let's see if I duplicated this. I saw that when you add a light somewhere here, you can make this even more bright as well. So let's try that and see. So that can also help. Yeah, you can see now we're getting better and better results. Also, let me make sure that this material doesn't produce any shadows that you can see there. So none, like that. I think we can also use this for the alpha. Perfect. I think we are getting better and better results. I can reduce this second beam, which I can't find for some reason. So let's see if I so those are the small streaks. This is the largest streak, which might be a bit too powerful, so let me push it up like that. Let me go to the noise here. I think we can duplicate some of it. So we have a few spheres here, so we can also use that to our advantage. We also duplicate this, have some blue light coming in from this side, like they have here. So I can duplicate these. I'm going to reduce this light here so that it's not too bright. Just have to duplicate the light streaks and add that. Position this something like that. And reduce on the glow here. That is not that powerful. And we have something like that. I also had another image that I wanted to work on in this live stream. This here, I think it also looks a bit interesting. So just going to save this. Again, if you want to look at the project files, or just have them on my Patreon if you want them. I still feel some energy in me, so I'm just going to go in and try and work on this here. Because it seems a bit simple to look. If you look at it, very simple concept here. So let's go with that. And I think we're going to do some sculpting on this one. So let's dive in. Just going to position my camera. Just play with aspect ratio a bit. Let's do a rough sculpt here. So just go to sculpt mode, then turn on Dino something there. Then I'll just also remove the mirror modifier here for a second. Now I'm just going to start doing some basic sculpting. I can see that my brush here is a bit distorted. That means that I need to apply the scale of my object. Again, go back to sculpt mode. I need to turn back Dino. Now let me just do some basic sculpting here. And if you hold on Control, you can subtract. So you have something like that. I'm going to change my detail level to 6. Then I can start painting in some nice details. Just very simple. Thing. Have some kind of hill in the center there. Then I want to use this sharp tool here. I think it's called the courese, to create some high points or sharp points. Okay, this is also this tool. Again, I'm trying to create something very rough, not super detailed, not can always come back and just make it look better. Let me change this to my detail to 3. See how that looks. Wax Kabaro. I'm from Uganda. That's in East Africa. And let's see. Let's just add in more details. like so. Yeah, I can add a plane for the water. Just something like this. Now, I think what I'm also going to do, instead of sculpting again, I'm just going to duplicate this, push this up, maybe mirror this on the z-axis, and hey, how is Somalia? So then I'm going to use the decimate your neighbor here, just a few hours. Then again, well, I'm forgetting what I was doing. Yeah, so we're going to use the decimate modifier to reduce on the geometry we have in this scene. So decimate, decimate. Something like that, then apply. Now what I can do is, because I want to create this detail here, so I'm just going to use a brush. Let's start. Just drawing in a few details like that. Then extrude in the z-axis, then delete. Now I don't like having this sharp edge here, so we need to find a way to select it, and we can also use Alt J to reduce on the number of triangles we have. I just need to select this outside here, just round it off a bit, which might not matter actually. So select this, scale it out like that, and also we can just subdivide this. Can also add a smooth, smooth modifier to smoothen some of the sharp edges just by a bit, like that. Yeah, so let's go to render mode. Make sure that let's bring in an environment background. Just need to find my textures. HDRI. Let me use something that would work as a cave, but I reduce the strength quite a bit. I'm also going to select these outsides, drag them in like that, so we have a nice cave that is fully enclosed. Now I'm going to add a light here. Let's try an area light. Okay, my camera is outside, so let me just select some of these. So we want to turn on contact shadows so that we don't see the light bleeding in. And also turn this down a bit. Let's rotate. Or something like that. You can see we still have some light bleeding in. So let's play around with some of these settings and see if that will clear that out. Yeah, so can reduce that by increasing the thickness and the distance. Now for this fog or volumetrics, we can go to the world settings and let's see, add a principal volume, shader principal volume, and reduce the density down a bit. Let me just reposition my camera. You can even start to see something there. And just increase this. Now we are running into a few issues here. Let me first see if I can recalculate normals here. And we might need to add a solidify modifier to get rid of this here, light bleeding in. So if we add that, increase the thickness just a bit. And also want to remove this face here. I'm not really sure why this is happening. Maybe our light is a bit too high. So 100. Now I don't think the solidify modifier is doing much here. It could simply be the resolution of our volumetric object here, or volumetric settings here. So let's try reducing the tile size so that we get a high resolution light. Not really sure why this is happening here, but let's play around with these settings and see. If they change anything. Let me first also change my aspect ratio back 1920 1080. We'll fix that a bit later, so let me see what else we can just. Let me add some of this water here. Give this water some material. Just isolate it for a second. Just find a texture, image texture. Hello Defcon XTV, how are you doing? And Ophila4. Try to make the volumetric cube at the whole area. Yeah, I think that could work actually. So except I won't be getting any fog on in the other areas, but let's try it out and see. So because right now what I'm using world fog, so it's just adding fog everywhere. But if we add just in the area where we want it, then we shouldn't run into that issue. So just going to add this cube and give it the principal volume shader, principal volume. You can see we are still running into the same issue here, and the other problem is we are only having that fog in one area there. Yeah, hello, how's German? How is everything there? So yeah, there are issues with that as well. So let me just go back to this and use principal shader, because it gives you volume in different areas. So this could be a problem with the tiles or samples we are using. So let's play. So okay, I turned on volumetric shadow. That removed the volumetric. Let's see. And see some of it. Which do you like more? Which do you like more? I have seen you do a lot of modeling, lots of texturing and lighting simulation, render scenes and artifice, and a little sculpting and a few game assets. Yeah, I'm not sure myself. I just do whatever I see as that interests me. I've been using a lot of Pinterest just to look at artwork. So what I'm finding there that is interesting me, it's what I'm doing. It's what I'm working on. Don't really, except I don't like a lot of sculpting, especially doing character sculpting. I don't have any favorite things. I like modeling, but I have a few things that I don't like working on, like sculpting. That is one. Rigging, I don't also like doing that. Maybe an area light can fix it. By the way, I like your channel. Thank you, man. Yeah, we're using an area light already. It's what we're using. So let me bring this camera in, because I think we are getting the issue is now reducing. It's not as much as it was. It's not too much now, as you can see. So we need to have some bounce light in here. So what I'm going to do is add a light probe area. I think it's called irradiance light probe. Could it be the scale of our scene? Because I think our scene is a bit large. Let's see, 12 meters wide. So let me scale that down a bit, so that it also fits in our light scene, this light probe. And let's see if that will fix some of the issues we are running into. Well, I think there was. Yeah, they are just worse. So maybe scaling up the scene would help instead of scaling it down. So let's try that and see. Yeah, it's an area light. It's not a sun. And I think our scene was just the right scale last time, so I'm just going to undo these it was just the right scale. And these light bleeding issues won't be that visible if we apply materials to this. So maybe let's also start working with the materials as well. So I'm just going to, I was working on the I had a large scene and had up to I had to turn up the area light to 200k. Yeah, mine I think is even more than that. It's actually it's not. It's 100k. But if I turn it to 2k to 200k, just get the same issues. So I was adding this light probe. They say it shouldn't intersect with the walls that you add, or it shouldn't intersect with any meshes, but I've done a few renders where it has intersected and I had no issues, so I'm just going to try it out and see. So let's go to turn on ambient occlusion as well. Let's go to indirect lighting and bake some lighting to see. Okay, it has made things look even worse. So no, just going to delete that. Now let's just work on the materials for this. So let's add a texture, image texture. This should be simple materials, since this is a dark scene, and I'm also going to just use them to capture reflections or roughness. So let me find some raw materials here, textures here. I think this could work. And I'm going to use box texture coordinate mapping. This one is easy and cool. Thank you. Object, box, scale this. And see, we're getting some cool details around the top there. We don't want them to repeat too much. Maybe duplicate the roof area and scale it a little bit up, and to layer the first. This will block maybe the wrong light. I think that could work. Let's see. Let me first just feed this into the base color. So you're saying if I duplicate this, yeah, actually that worked. Yeah, it's nice. Thank you for that. So and I don't want this to intersect with the other walls, so I'm just going to push them just out a bit. Yeah, that works perfectly. Everything else is dark as it should be, but I also want to see some of the sky from this view. So let me just select. Thank you. What was that? Ofilafo. Yeah, thank you for the tip. I think that worked really well. And maybe let's also make the roof a little bit longer. Hello from the United States. How are you, Sereta 3? How are you doing? How is the US? I know things are not actually. Let me not talk about that because it got my last stream demonetized. But yeah. So I won't be speaking about that, but I hope everyone is fine and being safe. And I just rotate this. Yeah, it's a lot of try and error. Yeah, always, always. So I want to see that through the roof, and also see the ground here. So that's why the previous aspect ratio we were using was working really well. That portrait aspect ratio, so that we can see the ground and also the up. Something like that. This should also have the same material as our roof. Control L, material. We can use this for the roughness and use it also for the bumps. Vector, height, and then normal, like that. Just reduce these bumps. I don't like to see those specks that you see on that, so I'm just going to add a math to reduce on the roughness there. Now also let me add a mix RGB and give this material a bit of tint, bluish tint or greenish tint. Make it also a bit darker. And also maybe just use a hue and saturation and bring down the value just a bit. Also increase the roughness. Let's work on water material. So here is our water. I'm just going to use a water texture that I have. Water texture, this here. Just make it tailable. And this can be the base color, and we can have this as the normal, the bump. You can also use it as the bump. Hi from Scotland, UK, a little late, but I will watch your whole video later. Thank you. I have covered a few things, and this is the second scene I've just created. Today I wanted to cover a few, just a little bit, covered just a bit more. If you turn on metallic, you get better reflections than just using non-metal. Reduce. Okay, let me just take off this color. Okay, our bumps don't seem to be what. Okay, I need this to be in the normal, not clear. Make sure you have really sharp reflections. See, if it's non-metal, you don't really get those reflections here. I'm also going to turn on transmission. Another cool way to make the water look a bit more realistic is by adding a layer weight and color mix RGB. Use the facing node here, and you can see we get that greenish color, maybe just a bluish color like that. So it kind of makes it look, have some bit of depth. So I'm just going to use that as the base color. And I think my bumps are a bit too high, so let me just use, maybe also reduce on the scale. Now we can also turn on screen space reflections and then refractions here, so that we can see through the water if the light goes through. Maybe let me just bring it up a notch. pull the camera back a bit. And I think what I'm going to do is scale this down a bit so that those bumps are not too high. Let's add that sphere. Mesh UV sphere. Give it the same material. Go back to the world. Let's try bringing in some lights inside here so that we can see some details. Yeah, the problem is because we have volumetric lighting, we can see the specks, the specular, or the source of the light. Let's try using the light probe again and see the irradiance light, see if that will help us. This time let's just not make sure that it's not intersecting with any of the meshes. And then back. Okay. Nothing seemed to happen. Oh, didn't change the light too much. Let's also add some reflection cube maps to capture reflections. Let's bring back the lights a bit. I'm just going to add an area light around the back of the camera. Just to bring in some bit of light into our scene. Waska barrel. What if you put it behind the ball? What if you put the ball? What if you put behind the ball an area light behind the ball? Let's see. I think it's just going to create a glow around the lights. I'm not sure how I feel about that, because it's creating this nice halo that I like. introduce a few new colors in and see how they look. Now what I'm also going to do is let me get my, I think that add some grass assets from my text for my grass. I'm not sure if I can find it, so it should be under be under fave. I'm going to drop in some grass and see how that would look. So I have a few grass assets. This is from my grass essentials pack, which you can get on my Patreon page. Yeah, so funny story that I should share, maybe because some of you are also trying to start YouTube channels and do the same things that I do. So I had hosted this, I also had this asset pack on Gumroad, and I got a few sales, I think about 6 sales, but one of the buyers, I think, used a stolen credit card to buy the asset pack. So Gumroad sent me an email saying that they have closed my account because someone bought the asset using a stolen credit card. Now, of course, this shouldn't be my fault because I have no way of knowing, of stopping them, I think this looks actually nice with some grass here, so yeah, let's keep that. So I shouldn't be punished for someone using a stolen credit card, since it's not, I have no way of controlling that. But yeah, that happened. So if you are planning on selling anything on Gumroad, expect things like that. Actually, not just Gumroad, any other site. And so I'm still talking with them to see if they can get my account back. But because of this, because what is going on in the world, they told me no one is really in the office, or they are understaffed right now since everyone is working from home. So they can't work on my issue right now, so I have to wait. And when I asked why didn't they just refund the money instead of just closing my account, they told me that they don't really have, how did they tell me? They didn't have any option because they are the whims of the payment processor, their payment processor, and their payment processor is MasterCard. So if it's MasterCard that sets the rules, so they have no way of. No, I don't think the problem was with Gumroad. It's just that if you have ever created if you are a web designer or a web developer, you know about these issues. Payment gateways really can. I don't want to swear here because I will get my channel I will get my the stream demonetized. But yeah, they can really F you up. Payment. So even with any other site you deal with, they can run into the same issue. It's like dealing with PayPal. They can also just terminate your account anytime they want. So because Gumroad is a partner of MasterCard, they have to follow MasterCard rules, and one of MasterCard rules is if an account is receiving if a stolen credit card is used to buy something with your account. That's the explanation Gumroad sent me. So I don't know. So anyway, I'm not using Gumroad anymore until that is fixed. So if you want to get the asset back, you can just find it on my Patreon page. I want this to be moving on the surface, so I'm just going to add a shrink wrap modifier. You can see now if I put it above the surface, above the You can see now the grass can conform directly over. Let me just isolate this for a second so that you can see what I mean. So I can have this grass conform to the surface. Now I can also just scale it up so that is everywhere on the surface. Maybe rotate this. And I guess I can also reduce the height just a notch. May increase the particle count. I have a few other grass patches I can use here. So let me select this. So again, I can use the shrink wrap modifier to have this conform to the. Let me first turn off some of these effects so that my viewport doesn't lag too much. So select, make sure this is above the plane. Have to drop off a severe lightning storm, tornado warning here. Oh, yeah, sorry about that. Yeah. Thank you for being around and thank you for the support. If you want to continue watching, the stream will be available later as a VOD. Let's scale this up. Also subdivide this a few times so that the grass can conform better. I want a few of these patches, bushes around like that. Let's see what else can we add. Look at this. Have some missing textures here, but that should not be a problem. Let me find. I'm not sure what file I'm missing here for this